to make hash browns.
Good. So, I just noticed that I didn't click the button to go live. So everything that we just done is sort of like, right? I'm sorry. This is like such a madman. So for those poor people who were supposed to show up at 11:30, I forgot to click that little button live, and here we are talking away and having a great old time, and you guys weren't even invited. So sorry for that. So if you're joining us now, I am Klaude Furlong, and I am here with Mary Louise Rose, who is a certified health and life coach, and we are just talking about how she got started in this. And I'm sorry to have to do this to you, Mary Louise, but we're going to have to kind of go back a little bit and tell me again why you decided to become a health and life coach and an entrepreneur. But now, to be honest, now we're like, right? We're into it.
We're warmed up and ready.
We're warmed up. We're ready. So you guys are going to get even better than it was before. So let's do this. So Mary Louise, tell us a little bit about this.
We get to show the imperfect side of things sometimes, and
Gary Vee says it's not about perfection, it's about doing it. So it's not perfect, it's do it. So okay, we're doing it again, and it won't happen probably next time, but hey, we got to roll with the punches. The show must go on. It's all yours.
All right. So for me, it began when I was in my mid-30s and noticed muscle toning was leaving me, and it was kind of my wake-up call of like, oh, I probably should do something about my body and the changes that are happening as I age. And so I started on the journey because of myself, and because my then middle school age daughter was looking to me as her role model. And I wanted to make sure that what I was showing to her was what I would want her to be, following along with and kind of showing up in her life. And so that motivated me to take action. And then once I took action for myself, I was like, well, I want to share this with others, because look at what I found, look at what I've been able to do. And, also for me, there was a childhood growing up for myself of having a mother that battled, her weight, battled her body positivity. And, I wanted something different for my child. And, that's okay. It's nothing wrong with looking at what we were taught and raised with and go, okay, how do I want to do this differently now that it's my turn to be the parent, to be the role model? And, again, like I said, the beauty of it was what I found wasn't that you have to go to the gym, you have to do a workout class, or you have to diet. And it was beautiful. And I was like, wait, nobody's talking about this. This isn't being shared, out in the world. And I want to be one of the people that gets to bring it to others and to say, hey, did you know that you get to kind of choose your path with this? There's nothing that says you have to do this or you have to do that. And so that's where I got started. And it's been a great, great journey.
I like that. I like the customization, because I think when we get a little older, we are looking for that, because we are looking for the health and wellness to fit into the schedule. Whereas when we were younger, it was more about, it's part of our routine and we want to look a certain way, and we don't have as many responsibilities as we do now. But it comes a point in your life where you're so busy. If you have a career, you have a business or multiple businesses, you're an entrepreneur, you're a serial entrepreneur, you've got all this stuff going on. And I don't know why, but the health and wellness and nutrition and all that, it just seems like overwhelming for a lot of us. And it always kind of falls to the wayside. And we kind of like, it's an afterthought of, oh yeah, I do have to eat. I've been working like for 6 hours now. And yes, I do have to get up, and I should probably, like, do something or eat something, but it's not part of our routine. So a lot of us that are working this hard kind of need someone to customize the approach for us. So I like that that's what you offer. You offer, it's not one size fits all. It's not one program for everyone. It's a very customized program for what that person wants as a goal, because we don't have all the same goals. Maybe it's just I don't want to lose weight. I just want to eat healthy. I want to live longer. I want to be able to enjoy all the work that I'm doing. It's going to be resulting in something. And I want to be able to, enjoy my, whatever the success that I have. And I don't want to get to a point in my life where I've done all this and now I'm sick as a dog because I haven't taken care of myself. So what do you say to, and I think this is your target audience, those busy career women, those, who juggle a whole bunch of things, family, social, career, business. How do you even start to put that balance in your life? And I think you had a post this week about saying it's not true. It's a myth. And I totally yep, I agree, because I think if I put a lot of focus on one thing in my life, everything seems to kind of fall apart. And then I take care of that. It's like taking out fires, right? So how do you balance that? How do you bring more balance to that?
Yeah, it's definitely, we say work-life balance. Well, work is part of life, so that's not gonna happen. And, it's never perfectly balanced. There is this, if you think about the scale, there is that constant, a little more weight goes over here, and so this side goes up, and then a little more weight goes here, and then this side goes up. And so it's just really, one, being in tune with yourself and making sure that you're paying attention to when you are stressed out, when you are depleted, and maybe you need a little more self-care, and making that a priority. And when I say self-care, it doesn't have to be massages, manicures, pedicures. It can be something as simple as, I'm going to draw a bath tonight. And, let's say you're in a married situation with kids, and I'm going to let my husband put the kids to bed, and I'm going to go take that bath, and I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. And I'm going to take that time to breathe and de-stress, and that's okay. Again, no guilt. And so I think it's important to recognize that you are important, your health, your body is important. So often we don't pay attention to our health until something happens, whether it's like getting sick or pulling a muscle, or, noticing something that then pushes us. But we tend to just take it for granted. And it's being proactive in your health and recognizing that it's not an overhaul of your life. I'm not going to tell you that everything has to change and you have to turn your life upside down, inside out. No, you just have to implement a few healthier things. And, when it comes to food, maybe you just need to look at that meal a little bit differently, make a little bit different choices. And it's not a huge overhaul. And I think so often we get overwhelmed with that because of what we see in the world of, I have to go on a diet and I have to
Yeah.
get a gym membership. No, you don't. Not
It's what we're
required.
sold, right? It's what we're
Right.
sold out there. There's no customization. So I like the approach, and I like and I want to touch on this because we weren't on apparently. But I really liked what you said, because I asked you, I said, because I go to the grocery store and I go into this, like you said, you get sick and you say, okay, I promise I'm going to take better care. And then you end up going to the store and buying a whole bunch of fresh stuff. It comes home and then stays for a week. And then the weekend comes along, you throw it all away. And my husband always says, buy frozen, buy frozen. And I resist that because I'm thinking it's not as healthy. But you said to me that that's not true. It's all about what's on the label. So can you take us again? Sorry about that, but can you take us again through the journey of the grocery store, and why, like, some frozen foods are actually as good as fresh? And we just need to learn to look for the right things. So tell us what the right things are.
So, fresh produce is great. The tricky thing with fresh produce at the grocery store is you need to, inspect it, make sure it is fresh, make sure it's not sitting there all wilty and nasty.
Oh,
I love a good farmer's market where I can help somebody in the community. I can
love
know
it.
that it was, grown with no pesticides
Yeah.
and things like that. So, like for me, number one would be a farmer's market. Number two would be the fresh produce at the grocery store. Again, making sure that it is actually healthy and fresh when you get it. And then with frozen, yeah, it's not all bad. And anything in a package, you need to make sure you're looking at the ingredients. Skip the nutrition facts, look at the ingredients. What
Okay.
is in there? What is being added to it that maybe I don't want to be putting in my body? And, a great example is like frozen hash browns. I bought frozen hash browns at one store. I looked at the ingredients. It included potatoes. I went to buy them. Yeah, I went to buy them at another store and I looked at the ingredients and it was like potatoes and oil and I was like, nope, not getting these from here. So anything in a box, in a package, in the freezer, you want to make sure you're looking at the ingredients and making sure that it is something you want to be putting into your body. The nice thing with frozen is when they flash freeze them, it's at the height of freshness. So you're sometimes better off getting something frozen versus in the produce area, because if the produce has been sitting there, it is losing nutrients as it sits there. So, and the nice thing with frozen is then you have it in the freezer. One of my favorite things
No
is
waste.
frozen. Right. One of
Yeah.
my favorite things is frozen wild blueberries. And I use them, like I'll use it as an ice cream substitute if I want something, sweet and cold, or I'll use it with some yogurt and granola to make a fruit parfait. And, I know that I have them. I always have them in the freezer. And so that's a great way to have things on hand. Another great example is I'm not a big onion eater. My mom now lives with me and she loves onions, she loves peppers, and so you can get those diced up in the freezer. You can have those in the freezer, and then if you are an onion person but you hate the tedious task of cutting up an onion, you can have them in the freezer and pull them out, sprinkle them in your dish, and then put the bag back in the freezer, and you know that you have them and they're chopped and prepped. Like that's the perfect option, because then you're not pulling out all the stuff to cut up a pepper and all the cleanup from that too.
Yeah.
Granted, it's probably more expensive per onion, per pepper, but sometimes convenience like that wins out. And if you're being careful with the ingredients, it's still healthy. It's still a great option.
It's
So
better than
yeah,
not
it's
having them at all, right?
right, right. Especially if it's something that you like having in your food and that you want to have. And, like with the hash browns, I don't want to grate a bunch of potatoes. If I can get a bag of, hash browns, grated up potatoes with no additional ingredients, and then all I have to do is pull that bag out, sprinkle the hash browns in the skillet before I make the egg scramble or whatever, great. And
Yeah.
I didn't have to go through all the mess of
Yeah.
preparing the potatoes. So,
Yeah,
yeah, there's some great
yeah,
options.
you're starting to make me think differently. Because I
Good.
think, it's again, I love the customization, right? It's not one size fits all. So I love that. So what do you see like the future trends in your industry, in your health and wellness and health and life coach with the, advent of AI coming into the world? Are you embracing AI? Are you doing things with it? And how is it helping or not your industry or your business in general, especially with the customization?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like AI is coming into all industries, and the sooner that we can embrace it and learn to befriend it and use it to our benefit, the better off we're going to be. And yeah, it's a great option, especially for somebody like me that does the personalized route with things, because feed it the information of, I have a client that has XYZ and desires XYZ and, doesn't want to have to, prep a bunch of stuff. And, let's say somebody wants to do a bunch of meal prep on Sunday. How do you do that? How do you prep a bunch of things that you can put in the freezer that you can pull from all week long and make me a meal plan for that? And
Yeah.
so it's definitely a great tool for all industries if you embrace it. And especially, for me, I've been able to see it as an asset and a way to help me better help my clients. And, I mean, if I was somebody that was telling every person I interacted with the same thing, go do this, go do that, it wouldn't be as beneficial. But because mine is personalized by every individual, every person, I use it as a tool to give me support and ideas and things to better support my client and for them to have success. And, again, like I said, once you embrace it and know how to use it and to help you, that is where the magic is. And it's been a great benefit.
I love it. I think it's great because it feels like if somebody comes to you and says, "Well, I'm on keto or I'm on low carb or I like there's so many fads and there's so many things that people want to be in, and I think AI gives you the opportunity to be able to, okay, well, all right, you want that? I'm going to give you that. We're going to prepare that for you specifically for you." Or even like I was thinking the other day when I was thinking about this interview, even AI, like if somebody says to you, "I have a knee injury and I can't do specific exercises," so you can actually customize a very specific um, type of physical fitness plan for them, taking into consideration all those, little injuries and little parameters that they have to kind of wheel through, making it even more customized than it could be, right?
Definitely. And, even like beyond maybe an injury, let's talk about what equipment you have. What are you able to work with? If you're wanting to work out from home,
Yeah.
let's make this work for you, because the last thing I want to do is work with somebody and say, well, you now have to go out and spend $200 to get all this equipment so that you can do this exercise plan. No, you've invested in me and my support to help guide you. Now let's work with what you have. Let's get this, ball rolling and making steps. And if that person chooses, let's say they have a 5-pound hand weight and they go, oh, well, that's getting too light, and they choose to buy something heavier so that they can push themselves more. That's great. And that's awesome. But I don't want to be that person that says, thank you for investing in my support, and now you have to go spend a lot more money. And the same thing too with like food. There's such a negative
Yeah.
connotation about fresh food that I don't want to be that person that says, well, now you have to go shop and buy all organic.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
go to the local co-op. No, I'm not going to do that. I want to make it work. I want them to be successful.
Yeah.
So I'm going to work with what works for them.
And I think the more resistance you put into their path by, like you said, like having to buy all organic foods or having to purchase these new equipment and have all these are obstacles. All these are resisting things that if you put in front of someone's path just makes it a little bit harder to kind of commit, right? So you're saying that you want to make it as easy as possible so that they're successful. You're trying to adjust it and put it into their normal routine,
I want to
basically.
make it an easy yes for them to follow through with. Exactly.
I like that. And
Yeah.
I think, and I remember you when we had a chat once, you were talking about a book called The Atomic Habits. And you were, I don't, stacking habits? Is that
Habit stacking? Uh-huh.
habit stacking? So how do you use habit stacking in your coaching?
So it's adding a new habit on top of an existing habit. And so, like, one of the things that I do and I suggest to people is whenever you're wanting to work out, you put on those workout clothes right before that. So for me, I get up, my first outfit of the day is my exercise outfit, and I don't take it off until I do my exercise. And so it's like this physical, visual reminder that, hey, you haven't moved your body yet today. And, and if somebody says, I'm going to exercise after work, then take your exercise clothing bag with you when you go into work, before you leave for the day. Change your outfit in the bathroom before you leave work. And even if you're going back home to exercise, then that way when you get home, those clothes are already on to do your exercise, and you're going to follow through, and you're not going to take that outfit off until you do your exercise. And it's so tricky, because if you say, oh, well, I'm going to put that outfit on when I get home. When you get home, you're getting the mail out of the mailbox. If you have kids or a pet, or there's something that's going to pull you in another direction, and you're still in your work clothes, and you're like, oh, now I'm going to change my outfit, and I'll do it after dinner. I'll do it tomorrow morning. Yeah, no, you're not. No, you won't. So let's go ahead and put this. So let's go ahead and put this in your path, this visual reminder that, this is what you're going to do. And, another thing is, like, let's say you want to do something when you brush your teeth. You brush your teeth, let's assume that this person brushes their teeth at the same, right? That they brush their teeth at the same time, same, type of routine or something like that. So you add that to either before you brush your teeth, after you brush your teeth, so that, when you're doing that activity, it reminds you, it triggers you to
you're attaching
do the other.
Yeah,
exactly.
I get that.
Yeah.
That's smart. Yeah, I did that when we talked about that, and I started attaching listening to my favorite podcast with going for a walk. So I knew that the podcast was like 47 minutes. So I knew I was going to walk for 47 minutes. And being the business coach that I am, I pick marketing podcasts or things like that. So it fills my brain, and I come home and I want to write down things to share with my members. So it was a great way, because now I look forward to the podcast. Even if I don't look forward to the walk, they're together now. So I don't listen to the podcast unless I'm walking. So it does work. It's a good way to con yourself into doing what's best for you.
Well, and the beautiful thing about that too is that's your reward.
Yeah, it is.
I'm doing my walk, and I'm rewarding myself with the podcast. And like you said, if that's the only time you let yourself listen to the podcast, there's an even bigger motivator to do the walk. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I started doing that after we talked, and I thought, okay, this is working. All right, that's good. So now it's like I don't even think of the podcast unless I got my running shoes on, and then I'm going for a walk. It does feel like a reward. So it doesn't feel like, oh no, I'm going for a walk. It feels more like, oh, I get to listen to my podcast. I'm looking forward to that. And maybe I'm not attaching, the good feeling, warm feeling of the walk, because I hate it. But because it's attached to the podcast, I'm starting to enjoy it. Right. So that was a good thing. So I know that you're a health and life coach, but I do know as well that you've got multiple other things that you do, like yoga, Reiki, and aromatherapy, which I find is a very complete and holistic approach to, I wouldn't call it healing, but a lifestyle or a life, wellness plan. Let's put it, I like that, a wellness plan. So why did you pick those specific? Tell us a little bit about the benefits of each of those things, and why you put them together, and why you feel like it's a complete solution for your clients.
So the beautiful thing of the entrepreneurship journey is you have opportunities that come into your scope, and opportunities that come along on your journey. And the nice thing about it is you get to decide what resonates and what clicks and what feels good to you, that you want to then add to what you're doing. And for me, yoga was a wonderful one that I've been able to add, because we don't stretch enough. We aren't moving the joints and muscles and oiling, because as you move, like your elbows and things like that, like that's oiling that joint. And so, if you're doing the same thing every day, if you're walking, sitting at a desk, just the same repetitive motions,
Yeah.
you're not moving your body in the opposite direction. You're not doing like arm circles, you're not rolling that joint backwards because it's always going forwards, just for an example. And
Yeah.
so with yoga, you're strengthening, you're keeping those joints oiled and mobile and, able to move. We're all aging, which is a great and beautiful thing. But with that becomes a importance of looking out for your body and being conscientious of your mobility, your ability, if you go to fall, to catch yourself or to land without slamming down on your wrist and breaking your wrist or your arm.
Yeah.
And, the beautiful thing with yoga is, yeah, you're getting that movement in that moment, but you're also helping yourself age better and be better prepared when you stumble over that curb or that step, to be able to land or set down instead of falling and reaching to catch yourself and breaking a bone or something like that.
What
And
about
so
people that feel intimidated by yoga? Because a lot, I'm one of those. I think of yoga and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I have the flexibility. I don't know if I have the strength. I don't know if, it feels so strange to me. And I see other people do it, and I always think of, very thin, you know,
mhm,
flexible young women. But
right.
for older generation, we're kind of like looking at that and going, "Is that going to work for me? Am I going to be able to actually do it?"
So I always teach to the beginner, because if somebody has experience, like let's take the tree pose for example. The most basic beginner tree pose is with a kickstand where your toe is actually still on the ground. You're not picking the one leg up. And more advanced, if somebody knows the more advanced tree pose, they can go into it while a beginner is being shown and going into the beginner pose. And so that's one of the nice things that in the way that I teach. And I would say, if you're going into a class or, pulling something up online, you want to make sure and note what level does it say. And, like I said, for me, I've chosen to always teach to the beginner because somebody more advanced can kind of lead themselves.
Yeah.
And so and for me, it's such a passion and desire to get everybody moving, to get everybody mobile and working those joints and muscles, that I want to make sure there's not that intimidation and that overwhelm with it. And so I am very inclusive. And, a lot of yoga teachers too will be like, if this position or pose doesn't feel good, you can go into child's pose, or you can just lay in shavasana, which is where it's called corpse pose, which is where you're just like laid out on the floor on your back. And because there's a lot of benefit just from being in a yoga class and just getting the calming, the mind work, the mental
Reconnecting to
work.
the core.
Exactly.
I get that.
So yeah, I would say, a lot of the yoga intimidation is what we put on ourselves. Yoga people are very loving, inclusive, and they want more people to do it and to be involved and to move their bodies, because we're heavily sedentary world now. And so everybody can benefit from moving a little bit more and stretching and moving. And even your CrossFitter and your bodybuilder, they can benefit from yoga. And majority of them will tell you, I don't do stretching like I should, and I could use a yoga class. There's a local CrossFit gym near me that they've added in yoga, and it's beautiful because it is so needed and so beneficial. Even if you already have an exercise plan, you should be doing that stretching and that mobility work.
I remember 10
Um,
years ago, I was doing Kundalini yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was it, because I wanted something a little more, um, you know, more like strength training, weight training. I was into a lot of weight training, and I wanted to do aerobics. And so Kundalini yoga was really a combination of both. And I really enjoyed that. And then I got hurt, and that's what happens, right? You start this great thing, and you have this great habit, and then something happens, you get hurt or you do something, and then you have to heal. And in that time, it's so easy to go back to your old habits, and then it feels like you have to start all over again. How do you deal with somebody like that who goes through like a hurt or an injury and has to now, do you stop, or do you tell them like, okay, well, your injury is, lower body, so we're going to keep moving the upper body until this kind of resolves itself? What would you
Yeah,
say?
that's exactly what I would suggest, because the best becomes when it becomes part of your routine. And like I said, if the injury is to the lower body, let's keep the upper body moving. If the injury means that if it's an upper body thing, well, let's keep the lower body moving. Let's do walks, let's run, whatever it is, and keep you in that routine, keep you moving.
Mhm.
And even something like I said with yoga, even as simple as showing up and doing child's pose or shavasana or anything, keeping that routine is important, and carving out that time and keeping that time sacred, and like
For
an appointment,
yourself.
like a doctor's appointment.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't you know overlook a doctor's appointment or something, an appointment that's important in our schedule. And so exercise should be the same way. It should be a non-negotiable. This is important to me, to my health, to my longevity. I need to show up for this, and making it that priority and that important for yourself, even if you're injured, even if you don't feel like it. Because oftentimes, when you least feel like it and you follow through, then you have that boost of energy and you're like,
Absolutely.
boy, am I glad I showed up.
Every time. And I know that's true, because even when I am sick or I don't feel good and I just push myself just that little bit and I go for that walk, I always come back with more energy. I always come back feeling better, even like mentally, especially mentally. And that's what I found in the walking. And it's probably like that for any exercise. It feels like your brain's on fire. It feels like all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, I've got this idea and that idea. It's like, and it's not like the usual crazy ADD brain that's got 1,000 ideas running at the same time. It feels more like a flow, feels more like you are in this other realm that you're tapping into, that feels like it's encompassed, right? I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels more connected somehow. You
Yeah,
just feel better.
exercise and movement is so much more than just the physical exercise itself, because you have the hormonal endorphins, you have that clarity, you have the energy. Yeah, there's so much more benefit when you do movement or exercise to your body than we realize or even give credit to. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And that's where it's like it becomes addicting, and you
Yes.
want to make it part of your routine. You want to keep doing it
Yeah.
because you go, "Oh wow, that felt really good. I had that like boost and I want some more of
I
that."
want that
Yeah,
again. So how does Reiki
right.
come into this?
So Reiki is energy healing. It's working with the seven different chakras of the body, the different meridians, if you will. And the best way I like to explain it is when your energy is like splattered and like out here, like all over the place, Reiki energy healing works to kind of bring it back in and to bring everything back into homeostasis, back to where it should be. And one example is like the throat chakra. If that is out of whack, you're either gonna, not be able, you're gonna struggle to like public speak, or you're going to struggle to be honest and speak your truth. And like when somebody hurts you or is
Push it down.
overstepping boundaries, and you're going to struggle there. And so work with energy healing can help you to bring that back to where it should be. And then you're going to go, okay, this feels good, this feels better, I feel more empowered to speak up or to be heard. And the same things with the other areas of the other chakras. Like the root chakra is basic life things, like safety, security, things like that. Your heart is love and being able to receive love and give love. And if maybe you've had some sort of trauma in your life and you're struggling in that area, then that energy would focus on that area and go to that area and help you heal and help you be able to give and receive, whatever it is. And the beauty of energy is it knows where you need it most, where is lacking. So if you have, something going on with your voice and your throat, but you also have something going on with love and your heart, the energy is going to go where it feels like is most needed to be helped initially. And some people, it could be like a weekly session that they need till they feel like, okay, I'm good, after 3 or 4 sessions. Okay,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
better in all areas. I'm ready to go. And, it can be very similar to like body work, like massage or something like that, where, let's say you pull a muscle and you go get a massage to help work it out. Well, it feels a little bit better, but it's not better. So then you go back the next week and you're like, okay, let's focus on that muscle again. Reiki energy work is very similar, where it's like, okay, let's keep working at this until you're good and you're satisfied with the results. And, again, we don't give enough credit to the internal workings of our body and the
Absolutely.
energy, and how when you're around somebody that's a negative energy and negative, you feel it, and it's just like,
Yes.
oh. And so that's energy.
The
That
same thing can be
is
said when you meet someone who's got this out of body, energy where you're like, I want to bottle that and I want to sell it because, I want to be next to that person or in their pocket at all times because they exude that, that good energy, that high level energy, right?
right. And I think, like your and my friendship is a perfect example of that. Like we happened to be in the same group, and you and I were both kind of like, okay, I like you. I like your energy, and I want to be around you. And we've all experienced the opposite situation with
Oh,
that, where
yeah.
it's like, ooh, I don't want to be around that person. That does not feel good. They do not make me feel good. They do not raise me up. And that's energy.
And that's the
We
thing I
know
don't
about.
understand. People like, when you talk about Reiki, you talk about, energy work and all those different things. People are all like, oh, that's frou-frou. That's yeah, EGB, EBGB kind of stuff. And you're like, yeah, but wait a minute. Wait a minute. It's like you know that it's true because you feel like when you walk into a room and it's all people that are toxic and you feel it. It's a heaviness on you, and you just like, I don't feel good in here. I want to go. You start physically feeling ill. You get a headache. You get, you just feel, nauseous, and you feel like you've got the flu all of a sudden, right? And the same thing happens if you walk into a room like a yoga retreat, or, you go vibe for 3 days. It's like you're on a different planet because your energy levels are so high. Everybody's love and this and that, and everybody is in that really high frequency of life, and you just feel that. So, I mean, why is it so hard for people to understand that we're not just this envelope of skin and muscle, and that there's this whole other side to us that is so much more powerful, and that we can actually control, we can actually work on it to make it better.
Well, and I think it's like you said, it's a lot of like what we've been told, what the world tells us. You know,
Conditioning.
right. We have these preconceived ideas and notions, and until we allow ourselves to be curious and to go, okay, that makes sense. You know, one of the other things that I talk about with people is like the full moon and the new moon. And people are like, yeah, full moon, whatever. And it's like, wait a minute. Have you ever heard a teacher talk about it must be a full moon because the kids were crazy today?
Yeah.
It must be a full moon because there's a lot of babies being born. Like we talk about the energy, we talk about what's happening, but we don't really like realize what we're talking about and
Yeah.
how you can then use that energy to your benefit.
Correct.
Why would we not?
I know. But well,
You
because we're
know?
not taught to. We're not taught that in our
Right.
school systems, or even in any system. We're just not taught to think and to be self-aware. We're taught to be little robots that are going to do what we're supposed to do. But I think when you're on a journey of self-awareness and you start realizing the power that you have within you, that's when you start kind of like, whoa, okay, wait a minute. That's when you need a coach who's going to take that and say, okay, let me help you uncover that journey and in the right way with the right tools and the right strategies. So if you could take us through the process of your coaching. So let's pretend I'm your perfect customer and I've just signed on. First of all, how do I get in touch with you? How do I connect with you? How do I even get started with you? And then take me through the journey of this is what happens, this is what happens, just so that people watching can have a good idea of what it would be to be working with someone like you.
So I know we have my links, and then those
Yeah.
that are there, those that are here in LinkedIn, I'm tagged. And so just connect with me. Let's have a conversation. And the biggest thing with the coaching world is making sure that both people are a good fit for one another. I don't want somebody to work with me that isn't a like doesn't feel like they jive with me or
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
get my
Connection.
vibe, like our energy, it works well together. Like I said, for me and you, we
Yeah.
were like, yes, this feels good. And so that I want the same for my clients, and I want to feel that way about them and working with them, and I want them to feel the same way about me. And you know, I'm not the only coach out there. So if they don't vibe with me, if they go and connect with somebody else and they get success and they get results, that makes me just as happy, or it makes me happier than if they were to invest with me, not feel good about the
Yeah.
interaction, not get
Exactly.
results. I would much rather that they invest their time and money in somebody else that they felt like, yes, this person is a good fit for me. So, first thing is making sure that we're a good fit for one another and that it makes sense for us to work together. And then it's what are your, you know, in that interaction, it's what are your goals, what are you wanting to achieve. And
Will you
one of the
take me through
beautiful,
a questionnaire or something?
sure, yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's, I was just going to say, one of the beautiful things is figuring out why, because that's what's going to keep you motivated. So you know, let's say that we're talking. And so I would ask you what do you want to achieve from working with me? Like, what is your goal for your health?
Get disciplined. Just do it.
Right,
Have
right.
have
And
somebody accountability. Have somebody to direct me and guide me with accountability. So not just, do this, but have a really strict plan on like a roadmap for me that's customized to my needs, and have someone pushing me along the way going, this is what you need to do this week and get it done. And then, like somebody who's holding my hand through the whole process until I can walk on my own.
right. And so with that, what is that going to give you in life? Getting that support and assistance.
It's going to help me achieve that exact goal of establishing a routine for myself and a priority, like you were saying a while ago, a non-negotiable priority in my schedule that's going to become hopefully something that I'm going to do every day. And it is going to be non-negotiable. So that would be an immense gift, I would say.
Right. And so why are you motivated to want to make that part of your everyday routine?
I think it's health. I don't necessarily want to lose weight. I'm not in that mindset. I'm more, I want to be healthy and enjoy. Like my business is going so well and I'm doing so well financially, but sometimes in the back of my head, I've been through cancer a few times. So I always have that in the back of my head. What if I, get that again, or I get sick again, or, I don't get to enjoy the works of my labor, which makes that would be such a downer, right? So often I think, okay, I should make this a priority because I want to enjoy, I want to buy the RV and I want to go here and I want to do that and I want to have the energy. I don't want to be, not able to do all those things because I didn't take care of myself. And yes, I have the great life and yes, we have the money, but now you don't have the health, you don't have anything. So, right? I look at like a guy like Steve Jobs sometimes and I think about him and I say to myself, like, this guy had billions, but he couldn't save himself because health doesn't work that way. It doesn't have a price tag, right? It's like you take care, you're good. You don't take care, you're bad. It just happens that way. And sometimes even if you do take care, it happens anyway. But I think to me, it would be the why would be more like I want to be able to enjoy and not just sit and enjoy. I want to be participating in my life.
And so through that interaction, I would encourage you to have your why in front of you and have it be the RV. If there's a place that you're wanting to travel with your RV, that's what's going to have you showing up regularly. That is stronger, more motivating than, oh, I want accountability, I want support. But
Mm.
why? And so many of the people that come to me, they go, oh, because I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay, but
But
why?
why?
Yeah. And sometimes it's, I want to run around with my kids and play soccer in the backyard without being winded and doubled over, catching my breath. Sometimes it's, I want to feel sexy when I undress in front of my partner.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it's like you were saying, sometimes it's, I've been sick before, I've had cancer or I've had something. And so I want to do what I can to mitigate that risk in the future.
Mhm.
And it's like that is why it's not 20 pounds. It's
Yeah.
what that 20 pounds means for
Mean.
you and is going to keep you showing up. On the days that it's raining and you don't want to get outside and take a walk, if that's your exercise of choice. And so that's one of the beautiful exercises that I love is the why under the why under the why, and sometimes it takes a few levels to
Yeah.
get there and go, that's it.
That's the
That's
why.
what's going to have you show up,
I love that. I
so
love that. That's
yeah.
great. So is it like, so would you have me build sort of like a vision board of that and so that I have that in front of me at all times?
Well, and again, that's where the personalization comes in. What's gonna help you. For you, you're at your office a lot of hours a day. So yeah, a vision board would be great. Some people, it's a post-it note on the bathroom mirror.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
people, if they're in their car, it's putting a note where the speedometer is that they're gonna see, like remember the RV, remember the trip to such and such,
Yeah.
remember the grandkids or and so it's what is going to be in front of that person to help them see that, remember that, be motivated by it, and keep them showing up. So again, that's the beauty of the personalization. I'm not
Yeah.
telling everybody the same thing to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. So then after that, so we've established the why. So now you customize a plan for me, I believe.
Yes.
So does that
So
involve does that involve like a fitness plan and a nutrition plan and a mindset kind of thing? Or is it like all those things or?
So, and it's like you touched on earlier about holistic. And for me, that means all the aspects. I'm not just a personal trainer. I'm not just a nutritionist. We work on all of those areas. We work on your nutrition and what's going into your body and how you're fueling your body. We work on fitness and exercise and how you're moving your body, building that strength, building that flexibility and mobility. And we work on the mindset stuff and how you're de-stressing and how you're incorporating self-care. And we even touch on, stuff from the past that maybe has you stuck in, I'm not thin enough, I'm not, whatever it may be that something was said in childhood, or
Yeah.
there was a role model or example. And so we touch on that stuff too. And that holistic, all those areas, and incorporating, within that, the yoga, the aromatherapy through essential oils, because scent and aromas are so important to us. If I say, imagine the smell of coffee, we all immediately have the smell of coffee. And
Absolutely.
so aroma is so key and important. And aroma can, like peppermint, can pep you up and energize you, and lavender can calm you and bring you down. And so using that too in the scope of everything, and like we touched on with the energy, and just recognizing that within ourselves and those around us and those that we're in the environment with. And so using all of that to make the perfect plan for my client that's personalized, that is something they can implement and show up for and want to show up for, and not feel like it's something that somebody else has told them they have to do. It's
Like a
something that
chore.
they get to do and that they enjoy. Yes.
Yeah. So then after I have my plan, is it a weekly coaching session that we
Yes.
meet
So
together and we
I'm,
kind of talk about what's going on? And
yeah. So I meet with my clients once a week. We immediately talk about celebrations, what's going well. So, because so often we don't think
yeah,
about the successes and
absolutely.
what's gone well. And so we talk about celebrations, what's gone well. We talk about challenges and where maybe they need support. And then the last thing on the call is your goal, and what are your goals in the areas. And the beautiful thing about meeting every week is, if you're not doing any exercise, well, let's implement something, and let's implement it at 2, maybe 3 times the next week, and let's celebrate that. And then, go, okay, are we going to increase it? Or are we going to keep it the same? And so it's that, like, tweaking week to week, that makes it gradually build into a routine and a habit and a beautiful, well-rounded health journey for them. And so that's the beauty of being able to see and be in front of people every week and working with them. And when life happens, whether they get sick or a family member is sick, or, like maybe a death happens in their life that throws them off track, or in the past would have thrown them off track. But then with my support, it's like, okay, give yourself grace. This week, this XYZ happened. Give yourself grace. That's fine. But don't let that totally derail you.
Yeah.
Let's get back on track, and let's, remember that why and that big motivator, and let's get back at it, and love yourself and give yourself grace that happened, because life happens. We
Yeah,
all have things that happen,
absolutely.
so.
So how do you define success for yourself? And do you feel like you've reached that for yourself?
It's yes, and I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and I'm still striving for more. And yeah, like I said, my biggest success is when my clients have success and they're happy. And, I feel so fortunate that I happened into this path in my lifetime, and that I'm able to take my experience and help share and help others. And, you know, each time a client has success, it's a little more success for me. It builds me up and makes me happier, and having that experience and having that positive interaction. And it's such a beautiful journey for me and for them. So
I
yes.
love it. Love it. Love it. I think it suits you very, very much. So I usually finish. Okay. So first of all, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, I need your handles for you're on Instagram, you're on LinkedIn, you're on all kinds of things. So where can they reach you? What's your handle on the social media, first of all? And then we'll finish off with the fast five.
So if you're watching this here on LinkedIn, the best place is here. Connect with me and let's talk. I am also on Facebook, Instagram, and connect with me on whatever platform you use, and you're going to check your messages and have that interaction. And then I have a complimentary call where we can get on that call and have that conversation and be able to make sure that we are a good fit and that it makes sense to continue the conversation and look at a coaching relationship. And then I also have a freebie where it's, let's look at increasing the water that you're drinking and hydrate your body without overhydrating. But so many people are underhydrated. They go from coffee to tea to soda and things like that. And, they're not getting water and hydration in your body. And there's so much more that we can talk about. And in that freebie, there is additional information. There's tips, there's tricks, and there's a tracker. So definitely make sure that you grab that. And if you're curious, connect with me. Let's have a conversation. There's no harm in making that connection and, exploring that possibility.
There's no strings. Let's just say that. Let's make sure people understand. There's no strings. Just reach out. And if you want that tracker, it is in the description area. If you're watching us from right now, we're streaming from LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. In the description of the LinkedIn Live, you will see the link to Mary Louise's freebie for the tracking of the water. And it also is on the YouTube channel under the live that's happening right now. It'll be in the description. If you are seeing this at a later date and you're not live with us, it's still in the description down below, so you can still connect. I would suggest you connect because then they fall on your newsletter and then they get all kinds of tips and tricks, and they have access to all the value that you bring as well, right?
Yes, definitely get yourself on my email list. That is a gold mine of information. If you have health aspirations, definitely make sure that you're in my email list.
Okay, awesome. So I like to finish the show with what I call the fast five. So this, you cannot think. You have to it's called the fast five for a reason. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions, one at a time. And you just, whatever comes to mind, spit it out. So
Okay.
if you could have dinner with 3 people that are alive, who would they be and why?
Ooh.
Anybody?
Well, both of my grandmothers, because unfortunately I didn't really have a chance to get to know them that well. And my generational work has me being very curious about that. Third person, Mother Teresa, because just, wow, what an impact.
So what would you talk about with her?
I would just try to soak in all the information and the beauty and just the amazingness of who she was and her heart for people. Yeah.
Her selflessness, right?
Yeah.
I get that. So what's one hobby or activity you love that most people don't know about you?
Because of what I do, I'm big on hobbies. It's as a form of mental mindset, de-stressing. One that I love that I would think people probably know about is hiking. And fortunately, where I am in the Shenandoah Valley, there's a lot of places to hike and a lot of different. The Appalachian Trail runs through our area, so there's a lot of opportunities. Gosh, I do some paint by number. So that's probably one that people don't know a lot about. I definitely am
That
not
is
a
so
freehand.
cool.
I'm definitely not a freehand painter. I like this color goes here, these lines are here. But that's definitely something that I enjoy for just de-stressing and winding down at the end of the day.
It's like those adult coloring books, right?
Exactly.
You get the color again. It's
Yep.
very meditative, right?
Yes.
I love
Yes.
it. Okay, if you're stranded on a deserted island and you could only have one book and one song, what would it be?
Whoa. Atomic Habits is one of my favorites, and it's one I keep going back to because, the best thing you can do for your health is create habits and routine. A book and a song. A song.
And
One
don't
of the
forget
ones,
you're gonna have to listen to this song for a long time.
right, I know. And one of the songs that I've listened to a lot, and it's on my Spotify, it's Good Morning Gorgeous. And I am so bad about like um actors and artists and things like that. I cannot even remember who it is that sings it, but it's all about like saying good morning gorgeous to yourself, and it's just that like self-love and I just love the sound of the song. It's very uplifting and very positive, and so that's one that when I'm like getting ready or whatever and I'm listening to it, I just like belt it out, and it
Love
just
it.
like I feel it, and so that I would say is probably a theme song of
Well, we
mine.
were talking about energy a while ago. Music has vibrational energy. So, right, it can bring you down, it can bring you up. So
Mhm.
that's something that, right? That song it
Yep.
makes you feel like, okay, I'm starting my day. This is it. It gives
Yep.
you a rise, right?
Right. And a lot of people like will use songs for an alarm because it wakes you up so much differently and better than this
Correct.
rah, rah, you know. So yeah, yeah,
But be
love
careful
music.
what song you choose for that particular task.
Yes.
Right? It might
Yes.
put you right back to sleep.
Yeah, it's got to be something motivating.
Yeah, exactly. If you could do one thing over again, if you wanted to correct something in your life, you're looking back and you feel there's something that you feel you made a mistake and you want to correct it. What is it?
Now that my daughter will be 20 next month, I would, and it's more like overarching, I would slow down and be more present with her. I would cherish the baby stage more, the toddler stage more, and, the elementary school and the middle school and the high school. And yeah, all parents and those around kids, and you blink and it's like, wait a minute. So again, that's kind of a overarching, but I would be more present. I would cherish, and for me, I was a single mom majority of her growing up, and so I split time with her dad. And I'm so grateful that I did because kids need both influences and
Yeah.
both parents there. But that cut my time in half. And then you add in school and you add in sports and you add in all those other, and so yeah, I would want more time, more presence.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. If you could instantly gain one skill or talent, what would it be?
Instruments and music because I love it.
And what would you play? Which instrument would you want to
So
gravitate?
in band in middle school and high school, I started with trumpet and then I went to French horn. And in marching band, I played the mellophone, which is the marching French horn. And I enjoyed that. I attempted lessons in elementary school with my grandmother to learn piano and unfortunately didn't keep with it.
Okay.
So, and I think like piano to me or like guitar can be more like overarching any situation. You can just sit down at the piano and
Yeah.
play, or sit down with the guitar and strum and play. So it would be like piano or guitar, or, you know, I mean, if I had my choice, it would just be like that natural ability to play any instrument.
That was that was what I was gonna pick for sure. Like if I had a
Yep.
genie in a bottle, it's like, yeah, that I can play anything, anytime, you know?
And
It's such a
people that can do that, I'm so
I do.
amazed. It's like, wow, good for you.
When I think of an artist like Prince who could play anything and do anything and produce everything, every single sound on his albums, it's like you're like, it blows my mind, because I know how much work goes into that. And to think that someone can do the entire thing on their own, it's just like, yeah, there's some
Yeah,
people that are just
that
gifted
talent is
beyond
wow.
belief.
Right. Right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a real pleasure getting to know you a little more and getting to know how you coach and what you coach about. I love that you provide a customized experience for your clients. I hope that people will reach out to you, because I think you have so much value to give with all of those different mediums that you teach with. And it just feels, like I said, like a real complete approach to wellness. So thank you so much for being here. I'm sorry about the bump, and I probably ruined this thing from the beginning. But hey, right? We had a great conversation, and that's what matters to me. So thank you for being here, and thank you for everyone out there who is watching, who will watch it during the live, who watches it after the live. Don't forget, look at the bottom. Louise has got a tracker. It's on the YouTube and the LinkedIn live description area. So whether you were on the live or you're watching this at another time, look in the description, go download that, and reach out to Mary Louise if you have those health and wellness aspirations. I think she's an amazing coach, and I think she'll take you to a successful journey. So thank you so much. And till next time, everybody, have a great day. Take care.